everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Unique Great aka Educated Farmer. Today I'm going to be talking about soil, its importance, and how we can know the soil and make the most of it. So if you're stopping by this channel for the first time, please don't forget to hit on the subscription button and also turn on your post notification bell. So whenever I post a new video, you're going to be the first to get notified. And to my returning subscribers, gracias. To kickstart this video, I'm going to define soil. What is soil? Soil is our life support system. Now, why did I define soil as our life support system? Soil is defined as our life support system because it's a medium for which plants grow. It is also a habitat that supports thousands of fungi, bacteria, nematode, and other microorganisms. It supports thousands of those species. All these are what works together to form our Earth's carbon, nitrogen, and water cycle, thereby creating the nutrients and food we need to survive. Do you know soil is an important part of the ecosystem? How is this soil an important part of the ecosystem? Soil is the foundation of any ecosystem because without soil, we cannot have food, we cannot have water, we cannot have shelter, and we cannot have air or anything else that makes us human. Soil is the only natural substance that supports life. It is composed of three parts: the topsoil, the subsoil, and the bedrock. All these three layers work together to provide the necessary conditions for life. I'm going to tell you 5 functions of the soil in the ecosystem, and I'm going to be making emphasis on just 2 of them in this video. The first function of soil in the ecosystem is that soil is a medium for plant growth. The second function of soil in the ecosystem is that it regulates water supply. The third function of soil in the ecosystem is that it's a recycler of raw materials. The fourth function of soil in the ecosystem is that it's a medium for landscaping and engineering purposes. The fifth function of soil in the ecosystem is that it's a habitat for microorganisms. But today I'm going to be making emphasis on soil as a medium for plant growth and soil as a medium for engineering purposes. Now, to truly understand this soil and maximize it in these 2 functions that I'm going to be talking about is to carry out soil testing. What is soil testing? Soil testing is when you analyze soil in the laboratory for different reasons or purposes. You analyze soil for its physical properties, its chemical properties, and its biological properties. Under soil physical properties, you analyze for things like soil structure, soil texture, bulk density, porosity, consistency, soil color, and so on. Under chemical properties of the soil, you analyze for things like soil pH, cation exchange capacity, salinity, and so on. Under biological properties of the soil, you talk about things like organic matter, enzymes, microorganisms, earthworms, nematodes, and so on. When we talk about testing your soil before planting, it has to do with the 3 properties of the soil: the physical properties, the chemical properties, and the biological properties. But when you talk about testing your soil before carrying out any engineering work, it mostly has to do with the physical properties of the soil. Now, I'm going to be talking about the reasons why you should carry out soil testing before planting. I'm now referring to soil as a medium for plant growth. I'm trying to tell you the reason why you should understand your soil before you plant. Soil testing is done to know the type of soil you have and how much nutrients is present in the soil. Soil test is also used in determining if there is any harmful substance in the soil. Some soil tests that can be easily carried out before you plant are soil pH. Soil pH is a measure of the acidity or alkalinity of the soil. Now let me explain. A soil can either be acidic or basic. Most crops do well on basic soil, and oftentimes we find our soils being acidic as a result of chemicals that are being deposited in the soil from running water, flood, or human activities. Even the pesticides and the fertilizers we apply to our soils make the soil to be acidic, and it could cause harm to your plants. Now, a simple soil pH test will help you know the pH of your soil, if it's acidic or if it's basic. If a soil is too acidic or too basic, the plants will not strive well in it. So in a situation whereby you have to plant a crop in a soil that is acidic, there are things you can do to remedy the soil to suit the type of plant you want to grow there. Another type of test that can be carried out before you plant your crop is electrical conductivity. This measures the amount of iron that is present in that soil. High level of EC in your soil indicates that there is high amount of salt in that soil, which is not good for your plants, and it will cause the plants to wilt and die. Another type of test that can be done before you plant your crops is to test for the amount of minerals present in your soil. Minerals are necessary chemicals that are needed by plants to grow. The amount of these minerals vary from soil to soil, and different crops need different amounts of minerals to grow and do well. Examples of these minerals are magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, and so on. Another thing you have to test for in the soil before you plant your crop is nutrients. Plants need nutrients to grow, and different kinds of nutrients are needed at different times in the plant's life cycle. When you talk about nutrients, we have micronutrients and macronutrients. Now, micronutrients are those nutrients that the plants need in little quantity, while macronutrients are the nutrients that plants need in large quantity. When you talk about nutrients and minerals, some minerals can be nutrients, but nutrients are not minerals. So in a case where you have to conduct a test, testing for nutrients will do, as most minerals are classified under nutrients, but they are mostly under the micronutrients, which means the plant needs them in small quantity. Now, why are all these tests that I've talked about important? First of all, they help you determine the type and amount of fertilizer you apply to your plants. They also help you know what type of crop is best situated for that particular soil you want to plant on. That way you can eliminate things like, I've been growing this particular crop on this land and it's not doing well. Soil testing helps you eliminate all of those things because you're sure of what you're doing. You know the amount of fertilizer that is needed by this particular plant. You know the type of fertilizer that is needed. Sometimes you feel like it's because you've not added enough fertilizer, but you really don't even know if that fertilizer you're adding to that plant is what is harming it. So a simple soil test would help you know what you're doing. A lot of people will say that, but I think plants do well on loamy soil. Yes, I agree with you. Plants do well on loamy soil. But do you know that there are so many activities going on right now that affect those basic things in the soil that plants need to grow? The fertilizers, the pesticides, the chemicals for weed control that we apply to our soil. Do you know that they have their disadvantage on the soil? Do you also know that the chemicals that wash away from our industries deposit harmful chemicals into our soils? What about climate change, flood? Do you know all these things are affecting the soil as it goes? All these things make the soil to revolve over time. It changes the soil. The way things are now is not the same way things were before. The ozone layers, everything is being affected, and these things are affecting the nature of the soil as the day goes by. Soil is a living thing and it changes with time. All these activities changes the soil. So yes, in as much as plants do well on loamy soil, the activities that is happening now is upsetting those things in the soil that would naturally help your soil to do well. Now, that does not mean that without a soil test you cannot plant your crop. But then, with a soil test, you know that this is what you're doing. You know that this is the amount of fertilizer you need to apply to avoid a situation whereby chemicals become too excess in the soil and they either kill your plants or cause harm to the soil. And the situation whereby you have to plant another crop in that land, those chemicals retain in that soil and they cause harm to that plant. It's causing harm to the human body. So a soil test will go a long way into helping you produce healthy food that is healthy for humans to consume. A soil test will prevent excessive amounts of chemicals in the soil. That is basically what a soil test does for you. A simple soil test would make a lot of things easier for anyone who wants to venture into farming, especially when you're going to have a very big land for commercial purpose. A soil test would help you eradicate so much things and also save your finances, and also help you produce quality food for humans to consume, thereby giving us long life. It is very important because we need to live long. So please, before you start that big commercial farm today, think about running a soil test on that land to know what to do and to know the amount of chemicals you are applying to that soil. It would be of a very big benefit to all of us as humans. Now, when it comes to engineering purposes, why should we test for soil? When I'm talking about engineering purposes, I'm talking about things like building constructions, building for industries, the roads we drive on. Those are the types of construction I'm talking about. Now, why do you need a soil test before you carry out these constructions? When it comes to a building, the reason why you carry out a soil test before building a home or erecting any structure is because you need to know if the soil is suitable for that construction work you want to carry out. Why do you think buildings collapse? Why do you think you go to some houses and then you see cracks on the wall? Why do you think most times after constructing a road, the road goes bad after 6 months or 1 year? All these things is because of the formation of the soil and the changes that this soil undergo over time. Soil testing is needed in building construction in order to determine the composition of the soil and if the soil can properly support a foundation. If a soil is found to be easily loosed, easily compressed, or full of absorptive clay, you will need extra foundation for support. If you carry out a soil test before building construction, you would know if the soil can support a foundation. A situation whereby a soil expands and contracts and you don't know because you did not carry out a soil test, and then you build your house there. Yes, the building will be there, but over time, as the soil is changing because of the contraction and expansion, the building will start having cracks, and oftentimes the foundation will crumble. There is no two ways about it. It's what happens. Now, you also test to know if your soil is strong or weak. Strong soils can support any foundation, but weak soils cannot. But there are things that you can do when you know your soil is weak in order for you to be able to erect a structure there. All these things can be remedied, but the thing is you have to know them for you to provide solution. If you don't know them, you're just going to do what you want to do, and at the end of the day, you suffer loss or you have to start patching the buildings, and sooner or later the building is going to collapse. Now, another reason why you should carry out soil tests before erecting all these buildings or building a home in any area is because this soil test reveals toxins and contaminants in that area to help you know if that area is hazardous to your health. A soil test would also help you in determining the type and depth of your foundation. It also helps you in determining the type of materials you should use for your construction work. It also helps you to know the amount of weight that soil can carry when you're trying to do your construction work. Soil testing also helps you to determine the type of construction to be done on that site, because the weight of a home building is not the same weight that the construction of an industry would carry. So a soil test helps you know the kind of structure that is best to be situated on that particular soil. In road construction, soil test helps you to find out the strength of the road or pavement subgrade. It also helps you to determine the materials that you need to construct that road. It also helps you to predict the thickness of the road pavement. Soil test also helps you to determine the load-bearing capacity of that road. And in that way, over time, when cars keep going back and forth on that road, it will not be expanding or contracting, and over time you will not see cracks on the road. These are actually the things that a soil test would help you prevent. Basically, you can just say soil test helps you make right decisions. With all this being said about soil testing, bear in mind that a wrong soil result can cause you to make wrong decisions, but with a right soil result, you'll be able to make a good decision that will be profitable to you in the long run. In as much as soil testing may seem expensive or unimportant to a lot of people, it saves you from a lot of risk financially that you're prone to when you don't do things the right way, especially in the agricultural sector. So you can simply put that a soil test is just something that helps you know what your soil needs and in what amount it should be applied. I hope this video guides someone in making the right choice today. Gracias.